So welcome to Beers and Buckets. My name is Connor, and I'm joined by Dowell tonight. And we're also joined by a special guest. We've had him on, I think, like way early. Probably it wasn't even a regular episode, but it was back in like November, December, right around when Paulo Banchero got the DUI stuff, whatever. But his name is Grant. He's the genius behind dUKe Update. Grant, how are you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm pretty good, man. Just had a pub sub, so I'm chilling. Straight chilling.
What'd you get? What kind of pub sub?
Boar's Head Ultimate was on sale for $6.99, so I had to go with that because $6.99 for a sub is pretty good. Yeah, Dow, how are you doing, man?
Good. I got to go to Kentucky. Had an open practice to fundraise for the Eastern Kentucky flood relief stuff. Ended up raising almost $3 million, which is awesome. And got to see the new guys for Kentucky. Get to see some old guys. Lance Ware was hurt, so we need a Lance repair meme out there. But no, it was a lot of fun. Baseball trade deadline was today. That was fun. I now have the entire Padres lineup and pitching staff on my fantasy team somehow because I had Juan Soto and Josh Bell. So just doing great.
Sounds like a good day. I saw the pictures that of the food you ate. It looked delicious. I was very jealous. But
I did get to go to a good restaurant too.
Yeah. So I really am interested to hear about the Kentucky players you saw, but we can't do that on a dUKe podcast. I just can't do that. So we're here to talk about
we
dUKe.
could.
Before we do that, let's jump into the.
I'm always down to talk about it. So
you're always down to talk about the competition, huh? All right. Well, let me just Grant. You get a question to ask Dowell, and then I'll get a question to ask Dowell about the Kentucky Open practice and how they look. So why don't you go ahead? Do you have a question in mind?
Come back to me in 2 seconds.
All right. How good did Cason Wallace look in person, especially offensively?
He missed every single shot short, but they were all directly on target. So just get a little bit more leg in there, and he was good. But no, he had a couple nice drives. I'm a fan. Okay,
good. Because as long as he's showing signs of offensive improvement, that's fine with me because I can't let Scott Clark from Courtside Connect continue to push this Cason Wallace is bad at basketball narrative that he has going. So can't do that. Not allowing that. So good. This backs me up. All right, Grant, do you have a question for Dowell?
Yeah. Did Oscar take any threes?
He took 2 or 3 threes. He made one.
That's good.
Is it? I almost want him to miss all of them so that he doesn't actually take them in games because that's not what I want to happen.
Judging by practice videos, he looks pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm skeptical until I actually see him take them in games. If he will actually take them, I would rather him probably just stick to the 15-footer kind of stuff. But it at least looks natural.
Yeah, we just saw Jalen Duren wasn't a floor stretcher by any means, and you know what I mean. So it's you don't need to be a 3-point sniper or even take a lot of 3-point shots to get drafted in the NBA. So as a big man, but neither here nor there. We're done talking about Kentucky. So we're gonna move on to the beer review. So Grant, I know you said you were either gonna drink some Mick Ultras on the pod or some whiskey, and then Dowell, what do you think about Mick Ultras?
I mean, they're the best light beer.
I do agree with that.
Thumbs up again.
I do agree with that. I love some Mick Ultras, but are you drinking the whiskey now, Grant?
Yeah, I'm drinking the Maker's Mark 47. That's my go-to.
Ooh, so, that's a good one.
It's either
that's a good choice.
Yeah, I'll either drink it neat or with right now I have it with cream soda, and that's been my
cream soda. I've never had it.
Yeah,
never had a whiskey with cream soda before.
I haven't either, and I tried it last week, and it's all I've been drinking since then. So
interesting. I just bought some cream soda. I'll have to try that.
It's either that or
what are you drinking tonight? Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's either that or ginger ale for me if I mix it. But
good man. Anyone that mixes whiskey and Coke is bad.
I guess I'm bad. Down. I like it with Diet Coke or Coke Zero, but not straight Coke.
What are you doing?
And also, I love it with Ale 81, but I rarely get Ale 81 being in Florida. So yeah, never never really get to do that much. Yeah. So
Also, can I just talk about how it's so great to be able to see you again because my camera now
I
works and I
know.
can like give thumbs up and like do hand motions at you?
Yeah, we might be able
It's
to use
wonderful.
this on like YouTube if Grant gives us his consent.
We'll just blur him out like we have like the He's in With set.
Yeah, I would be not okay with putting my face on YouTube if I was wearing a New York Jets
Okay.
sweater too.
Hey, things are looking up. Our
Just
quarterback he's got that dog in him.
the MILF hunter, yeah. All right. Now, what are you drinking, man?
Connor.
This is like the third
I
time
am
I've asked.
drinking. So I made my own like 6-pack at Liquor Barn and found this imperial stout that is brewed with coffee, chocolate, and vanilla. It also says contains alcohol on there, which I enjoy. Like it's a beer, duh.
But it looks
But it was like it was
it's
the
like
most expensive beer that they had.
it's like a motor oil. Like 10W40 is a motor
No,
oil,
yeah,
but
it's called 10W40. So
yeah.
it yes, I think that's the vibe. Is it's supposed to look like oil, but it was expensive, and I figured that because this is the dUKe episode, I would pull out the most expensive beer. It seemed fitting.
Pompous,
Uh,
very
exactly.
posh.
Drop the bag, so they say on the beer. But let's give this a try. That wasn't a very good crack. It's pretty good. The thing's heavy. It's 8%, and you can tell. Word. Yeah, no, this is really good. It's 8%, so it's really heavy. It's from Asheville too, so that North Carolina connection to dUKe. But no, this is good. I like stouts just in general. So I figured I would like this, but it's definitely very heavy on the coffee and the vanilla side. It's pretty solid though.
Not
Um,
crushable,
you can
right?
go and I'll. Yeah, probably not that crushable. Unless you're trying to get just like completely
Yeah.
obliterated. But
Yeah. I
you
my liquor store like restocked their craft beer shelf and got like a whole batch of new ones, so I'm set for the next year, I think, which I'm excited
let's
about.
go.
But I got this one. It was Edmonds Oast Brewing in Charleston, South Carolina. So I tried to find someone in North Carolina. I couldn't find one. But this one looked pretty cool. So it's sour fruit punch, and like the logo kind of reminds me of like the Hawaiian Punch logo guy a little bit. Like it looks like they tried to do that, which is cool. It's 6.5% and 0 IBU, and Untapped has a 3.71. So I'm gonna try it and we'll see how it goes. I never even said what it was. Sour fruit punch ale. It's an American sour ale with cherry, orange, and pineapple.
Also, you not getting a beer in North Carolina makes sense because there are no dUKe fans in North Carolina either.
Very
So
true.
I live in Durham, and you rarely see Duke fans around. It's pretty bad.
yeah, I went to Wake, and yeah, there's no dUKe fans. Like you see NC State fans, UNC fans, some Wake fans, even in
I
Winston.
haven't seen a
But
Wake.
yeah, there's no dUKe fans.
They're all in the
So
Northeast.
Yep.
they're all in New York with their Yankee gears, right?
I'm not in New
um,
surprisingly.
this sour fruit punch is pretty good. It doesn't taste like fruit punch, but I do taste the pineapple and cherry and orange in it. So I mean, it's a sour ale first. I definitely enjoy it though, and it was a 4-pack. I plan on drinking all these, so
Where'd you find
it's a
that at?
pint each. Oh yeah, I got to shout out to my liquor store, Lucan's Liquors. It's a chain down here. I don't know if they have them up there, but um, the manager at the store near me is like, you got to give a shout out. You're here every week. Got to give a shout out on the pod. So here's my shout out, manager. I don't know your name, and go to Lucan's. Comparing to this college basketball, I'm gonna compare it to college football, and go with the Coastal Carolina, because it's in South Carolina, but also it's a surprise, and I feel like that's what Coastal Carolina's been the last couple of years. So I like watching them play, and I like this one. I didn't think I was gonna love it, and definitely an underrated beer. So just like Coastal Carolina's pretty underrated football team, I'll go with that. So what are you comparing your beer to, Dell?
I'll compare mine to UVA basketball. I feel like I've done UVA in the past, even maybe last podcast, but regardless. Uh, because I would only really drink this like once and be done, I'm gonna say in honor of their loss as the only one seed, being one and done in the tournament. That's what I would compare it to.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so let's move on. We're here to talk about Duke basketball. We're not going to waste any more Grant's time. Duke's off season. Well, let's talk about their season last year. So they finished 32-7, 16-4 in the ACC. So that put them at
Well, should have been 31-8 because Mark Williams tip in against Wake should have been goaltending. But
neither here nor there.
Regardless,
they finished first in the ACC. Sorry, Dowell. And they finished 9th in the AP Top 25 and 8th in Ken Palm. So, as a Duke fan, how did you feel about last season, Grant?
It was okay. I prefer not to relive it. I think I tweeted out 2 days ago. I rewatched K's last game, and I couldn't make it like 10 minutes.
Why did you do that? I saw you tweet that, and I was like, "Why is he doing this?"
I wanted to relive how awkward and bad it was. Then I still couldn't make it through it. It was so bad.
Oh man,
they started out okay. It's a lot of pressure on those guys because I mean, whether K will admit it or not, he's the reason the pressure was there. He deserved the appreciation. Probably could have went about it a better way, but I'm not sure. The transition helps with Shire, but that's a lot of pressure for teenagers to live up to. Like, I mean, they did as well as I thought they could. It sucks who they lost to. I'm never gonna get over that, unfortunately.
Who did they lose to?
We're not talking about that. We're not. Just a lucky 8 seed. That's all I know.
I feel like a lucky 8 seed is a lucky number for years. I don't know. Kentucky was the 8 seed when they made it to the championship game in 2014. So like I feel like that's a common theme.
Right, and it's not even like they were underseeded. Like they deserved the 8 seed. They just got like scorching hot.
Yeah,
it sucked.
Yeah,
but I will not talk about that. But I mean, overall, it was fun. It was always good to beat Wake. It seems like every game in Cameron against Wake is close, though. At least recently, because what was it? They almost beat the Zion team. I don't think Zion played, and then last year Mark Williams to tip in. They lost the ACC championship game to Tech. And then, they didn't have a terrible path to the Final Four. Arkansas in the Elite Eight isn't like a heavyweight matchup. I would have preferred to play Gonzaga, but I'll take what I can get. And then
don't tell Arkansas fans that, by the way, because they will come at you with a fury like none other.
No one cares about Arkansas.
I agree. Just don't tell them that. Yeah. It's like Kentucky in football. No one cares about Kentucky football.
Hey, come on!
I'm being honest. I'm being straight honest.
This is talking to Duke is one of the few teams that we can like actively talk shit to. we can't be self-deprecating on this podcast.
About football if you want to, but we don't have much to talk about.
I do love Mike Elko. He was at Wake.
Yeah, they've already got like 23 commitments since they hired him, which is insane. And
Elko's dope.
Yeah, he's cool. But yeah, it wasn't. Those guys. There's a lot of pressure on them, and it really sucks because they're going to be remembered for 2 games, and they made the Final Four. In Cage last year, they made a Final Four, and they only be remembered for losing his last home game, and in the Final Four to the same team. So whenever you think of Paolo, you think of what happened. It sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
But we're moving on.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking of Paolo. I'm thinking of all the rings he's going to win in Orlando. That's what I'm thinking of.
I really hope so.
You're disgusting.
So
Wendell Carter down low for 15 years.
Yeah,
at least 2.
The tag team duo. No, yeah, that they had. I mean, they had a lot leave. Obviously, they had almost. Was it a record for Duke on how many draft picks they had this year, or was it? Did it tie it?
I think
It
they
was
set a
pretty
record
close.
because the previous was 4, and they got
Yeah,
5, but 4 first rounders, 1 second rounder.
Yep.
5 first
so
rounders
if
would have tied Kentucky, I think, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. So if you weren't paying attention to the draft, which is fine, I totally get that because off season, whatever. Um, Obviously, Paulo went number 1 to Orlando. Williams went to Charlotte at 15. Griffin went 16 to Atlanta. Wendell Moore went to Minnesota at 23. And then Trevor Keels went in the second round, 42, to the Knicks, which was like one of the only players that the Knicks took, right? I feel like they only, like, they had like a trade.
Yeah, because they like moved a bunch of
Yeah.
pieces
They
It
around.
traded.
was, it was a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're losing 5. That was 5 players that had more than 10 points per game. And then, which I didn't know this, but Paulo had more rebounds per game than Mark Williams, which is crazy. Get that man, let that man be a center. I mean, probably not. That would be disgusting. But he could be a college center. But yeah, no, I didn't realize that, but this was a crazy draft class for Duke, and then you also lost Theo John and Bates Jones to graduation, and then you only had one transfer, which is not super surprising. I thought he was going to stay though. Did you think Joey Baker was going to stay from your side of things?
He said he was going to stay. Duke, the official account, tweeted it out after the season that he'll use his COVID year for Duke. And then AJ Green came on a visit, and he announced his transfer the same day. And then AJ Green didn't even go back to college. And I don't know what happened. Something happened. I don't know what. Maybe Proctor was being worked on behind the scenes, and Joey just knew he wasn't going to play much.
Yeah,
But it was weird because the official account said he was coming back. I don't know what happened. It was like a month later he announced he wasn't coming back. So
That is really strange.
yeah,
Especially because, I mean, like you said, we'll go over incoming players in a second, but it's not like that you all brought in a ton of guards that would be challenging him for the 2 spot. Like, a lot of the people you brought in are 3s, 4s, and 5s.
right, it sucks. I mean, he's
I know.
6'7". He can't. He's too slow for guards, and he's too weak for bigs, and wings are just too athletic for him. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't going to play.
So that's not a good combination.
It's not.
Sounds like he just needs to go to a mid major, but he went to Michigan, so
I said he
Yeah,
should
we'll
go
see.
to UNC Greensboro and get like 15 shots a game, and then
yeah.
go to G League or something. I don't know.
Fair enough. But with all, I mean, you had 7, 8 players leave. So you had 2 returning in Jeremy Roach and Jalen Blake's. I know Jeremy Roach's game. Do you know a lot about Jalen Blake's? I mean, he only averaged 1 point a game and not even one assist or 1 rebound per game. So is there a lot there, or is he just going to be a bench player kind of in his career?
He'll definitely be a bench player. He was a top 100 recruit, but it was the COVID year where like coaches couldn't go see players and scouts couldn't go evaluate, so the rankings were all screwed up. But I mean, he's playing on the U.S. East Coast team. He's going over to Spain this month to play with them. I think they have like 2 ACC guys going over there, so maybe he'll get some run. He's a strong guard. He's short and stocky, but his shot looked terrible last year. But the videos that they posted recently appears to look a little bit more fluid. He's quick. He is known for being a plus defender, I guess. He'll probably, at best, he'll turn into Goldwire.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he might
Yep.
this year. He'll have to play. He's the backup point guard, but I wouldn't expect much until he's a senior, to be honest.
That's fair. So I know you're probably chomping at the bit to talk about the new guys coming in. Why don't you go ahead and tell us? I mean, give us a rundown of this class, and then talk about these transfers. Because I would be very excited if I had this many freshmen to talk about and that many transfers to talk about too.
I mean, yeah, there's 11 new players in one off season. So imagine being the new head coach that follows K, and you like lose a whole team. You have to bring in 11 new players. But I mean, it is what it is as a Duke fan. So, but I think was Lively ranked number one. Derek Lively, big
Yeah.
dude, very mobile, has shown that he can kind of shoot from three. Played AAU with Duran, and they dominated. But I think the video that they posted shows that, I mean, he's very athletic. He should be able to just rim run, pick and rolls with Roach, catch lobs, defend the paint. They'll probably throw him at the four because I don't think Filipowski's laterally quick enough to defend the fours. Um, and then Whitehead's probably going to be the guy, him and Roach, the two main ball handlers, offensive creation. And the guy that I'm the most excited about, Mark Mitchell, the hybrid forward, I guess you can call him. I mean, he's been killing it in every scrimmage that they post, but I mean, it's just highlights. So, but I mean, he's like 6'9", lefty. He's athletic and slash pass, little mid range. I mean, I think he'll probably start from day one, especially since Filipowski hasn't looked amazing, and I don't think him and Lively are particularly great together on the court.
Do you have a good comp for Mark Mitchell?
Duke fans love the Winslow comp because he's left-handed and small forward.
Okay.
I don't know. Kind of, he's like if RJ Barrett was 6'9", but like not as good. If that makes sense. Yeah, he slashes like RJ,
Yeah.
but RJ was just better. It is. And then Jaden the I guess you can call him a combo guard because the video that they posted, he was handling the ball a lot, and I mean he's just a shooter, like a knockdown shooter, which makes sense because his last name is Shoot. And then Tyrese Proctor was supposed to be in the 2023 class, and then reclassed after Keels decided to stay pro at I think it was 10 p.m., 2 hours before the deadline. And then I guess they had Proctor waiting in the wing. So, I mean, I think he'll end up starting beside Roach. Very, very talented. Just played on the Australian national team in the Asia Cup. They won gold. I think he was the youngest player in the whole tournament. I think he'll be really good. Christian Reeves, I don't know what he was ranked. I think he might have been a 3-star. But he'll play. He played at Oak Hill with Caleb Foster and Chris Livingston, and he looked okay. He's very athletic, very raw. He's gonna as far as I know, he's redshirting. They haven't said he's not yet, so I guess they can always change their mind whenever they want. But
yeah, the last ranking I saw for him, he was listed as a 4-star. Is what I saw today.
He might
do a little prep work.
I think he finished the season strong, and then I guess I didn't talk about Filipowski, but I think he was up to number 1 on 3 or number 2, something like that. I don't know.
He's super high on 3.
On 3 wouldn't be my most trusted source there, but if it was my player ranked number 1, I would totally gloat on that one too. So
I think he's more 10, 12 range. I think he'll be a 2-year guy. I don't know if he'll put it all together in the first year, kind of like Matthew Hurt was, except more NBA potential because Filipowski's way more athletic.
And you have NIL, so he doesn't have to go this year. You
Right.
know, whereas you didn't have that option really before. You wanted to get to the league as soon as possible. So,
right. And
it makes sense.
Yeah, and they were talking about Mark Mitchell potentially being a 2-year guy at the start of the summer, but it looks like Filipowski might be the 2-year guy because I don't know if he's ever going to. He'll play the 4, but I don't think him and Lively will do well together, at least right off the bat, unless he's just choking from 3, which he's capable, I guess. But we have to see it. And then
he looked good in the Jordan Brand Classic game. I remember watching that, and he was looking smooth with Case and Wallace, them two on the same squad. I think it looked good. I liked his game.
In the Nike Hoop Summit, he didn't look amazing.
Yeah.
Defensively, at least.
Yeah.
But that's it for Fred.
He looked really good. He looked really good Euro stepping all of the walk-ons in those highlight clips that they've been posting.
Dude, so he's 5'6", and he hoops, man. Yeah, he's
He's
tiny.
so small.
And
So Mark Mitchell, that name is it's just like the classic Duke player name. I feel like it's one of those classic Duke player names that's like, this guy is gonna bother me for no reason other than he's good at basketball. Like that's what's gonna be annoying about him. I can already tell. It like definitely already tell that it's gonna bother me. But
who was
I'm excited for him, to watch him play too. No, I'm not gonna lie.
who was that guy that bothered you last year? Keels?
No, I think well, Keels in
Yes.
that Kentucky game, yeah, but it's probably Mark Williams, so it's maybe just a Mark thing. I don't know.
Makes sense.
But no, and also Theo John in that Kentucky game went like nuclear, which bothered me because he didn't do anything like that ever. Like after that, which I'm sure would bother you as a Duke fan too. But like he just where did Theo John come from? Like what are we
His
doing here?
his role was just to come in and bully as much as he could.
Yeah,
He's Lance Ware desire like his ultimate goal is just to be
yeah,
Theo
Which I
John.
think
absolutely.
he can do. I mean, he's better than Theo John.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's it for freshmen, really. I don't. Obviously, Lively, Whitehead, Filipowski, Mitchell, Shoot will play, Proctor will play. They'll all play except for Reeves, in my opinion.
I mean, you have to
They're
whenever
probably all
you have
top 8 in
on
the
on your
rotation.
team.
I mean, Shoot's probably the first guard off the bench, unless they bring Proctor off the bench. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. So we talked about the freshmen or the recruiting, this class coming in. You had a handful of transfers. Why don't you tell us about those? One, I'm pretty sure Matt Sack of Courtside Connect thinks hung the moon. Like he was so sad about missing on Grandison.
Dude, he loves
It's the
he
Illinois
loves
thing.
Grandison so much.
It's just because he's from Illinois. I guess I don't know.
I guess.
I mean, Granderson's obviously the most talented transfer they got.
Yeah,
Right now, he's dealing with an injury. I think Shire said on a radio show, so he's still recovering. But he was seen in videos moving fine, so I think he'll be okay. But he's like, I think he'll probably end up playing the 3 / he'll probably play some 4 too, because I don't. It's still to be seen what Shire's going to do with rotations. But he said he wants to run and go, and just run and shoot. So Grandison will probably end up playing the 3 or 4 a lot. And Catchings from Harvard, Kale is a great name, but I don't think he'll play. Ryan Young, the backup from Northwestern, he's been hooping in the scrimmages. He's like got that old white man post game. He's got that down pat. No athleticism, but he'll school you in the post. Max Johns, I think Max Johns is a preferred walk on. So I don't think he's going to play unless like they're up by like 40. But I mean, Granson's going to get the most minutes from that. Ryan Young will be the backup 5. Maybe Filipowski will be the backup 5, and Ryan Young's like the emergency backup 5.
yeah. The Filipowski and Derek Lively got foul trouble, and you need somebody to throw in there. 5, yeah.
I mean, it only makes sense for Duke to get transfers from Harvard, Northwestern, and Princeton. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that checks out.
Shire's shown some willingness to go into the portal already, which is good for guys like Grandison and Young. But I do think he'll end up doing that whole get the old guy in here who's smart for practice every year, which I think is a smart thing for coaches to do. So,
yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So not only did you have 11 new players, you had some movement on the coaching staff. Tell us about that. I mean, obviously Shire coming in, but he was already there. But you know what I mean? We don't need to talk about Shire too much. We have some questions about that later. But you had some assistant coaching changes. So tell us about that.
Well, Nolan Smith left for Louisville, which was rumored before even the Final Four, which means he was talking about it before the Final Four, which is kind of sucks. But I love Nolan, so I can't hate him for anything. He went to Louisville. There was an open spot for like a month. They brought in Mike Schrag, I think is his name, or Schrag. I'm probably mispronouncing it. But he was with Duke before as director of player personnel, I think, or something like that. He was with Duke in like the mid 2000s. He was the head coach at Elon, and he came back to be, I think, the same role he had
Yep.
before. I don't think he'll be on the bench. I think he's the player personnel guy, which I don't know what that means. But and then they brought in your guy Jay Lucas from Kentucky,
Not our guy.
which
He's not our guy.
which caused the interesting day for Twitter for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which I don't even think losing Jay Lucas for you guys is remotely as good as it is for us getting him. Like
Yeah.
he wanted to expand his role. He's like the second hand man to Shire now behind Chris Carrawell, which is more of a role than he would have at Calipari.
Which
So
He,
he was going to be the
Yeah.
fourth guy on that staff because of
and the
all
only
the
guys he
seniority
brought in was
on that
what
staff,
Wallace and
no
Collins
matter what.
and
well, and Wallace was like a group effort though. Like he would go back and double down or whatever with Wallace, but Wallace was a group recruit, like gang recruit there. Damian Collins was the one that he brought in, and then at Texas, when he was at Texas, it was Greg Brown, and so that's my point. Like Kentucky fans thought it was just the worst thing ever to lose Lucas, which it really isn't, because you look at the guys that he solely recruited, and they're still projects. It's not like they were like Anthony Davises of the world,
I think it's because like
UK fans,
social media accounts will like hype up new hires. So when Lucas
Yeah.
got hired at Kentucky, he was the new young guy who's the recruiting guru, who's going to bring in all the 5 stars, and then they lose him, and like the uneducated fans just think the worst. So
Yeah.
and if Jay Lucas would have gone to like Cal State Fullerton, we would not have
No, it's
Kentucky
the
fans
fact
would
he
not have
lost it to
cared.
Duke.
It's that he left
Right.
Kentucky to go to Duke.
But I will say your guys' social media game was definitely, I don't know about now because they've hired new people at Kentucky, but the way that you guys introduced your new players,
good.
the new coaches was like light years ahead of Kentucky in that regards, and probably light years ahead of anybody else in college basketball. It was very well done. I mean, so I see why there's an appeal to go there. So I mean, like, it makes sense because you get good branding, and so. But yeah, Kentucky fans were just ridiculous.
Is this why I should cry that Tipton Edits is biased and
Hey,
loves
Joe
Duke
is-
and
Joe is my guy. Don't mess
These-
with Joe.
Okay, but his edits he's a little washed when it comes to editing.
I just like-
feel
I don't even think he does it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he does it either,
yeah.
because it used to be way better.
I just love that everyone thinks that he's like some massive Duke guy that is like incredibly anti-Kentucky,
I mean,
and I'm like,
He does.
Yeah, no,
it's probably
you
not
find
that
a narrative
serious.
anywhere like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, Kentucky's social media's, from what I've seen this summer, it looks amazing. So
Yeah,
It's picked up. They hired a new guy that
they
has
hired a new
like
guy,
done a really
and
good
it's
job.
definitely been better. I mean, the fact that they're posting stuff is just better because they weren't even posting stuff for a long time. And they did like last year. Last year's teams did a workout in Kroger Field, and they didn't even post videos. It was just like 3 pictures. We're like, guys, come on.
what do
We
you
want to see more of this.
what do you guys think of like the 10-minute scrimmage stuff? Would you want them to post that for Kentucky?
I would like it personally, but I mean, I don't know. That's something that Duke did last year, right?
Yeah, I think they did it. They started doing it during the COVID season.
Yeah. I mean, as early as you could see your team, yeah, I'd love to do it. This year we have the Bahamas trip, so like it's not a huge deal. You get to see 4 exhibition games, so you get to see them early. But and it made sense of the COVID year too for them to do that. I think it's cool. I remember Duke last year. They go play Villanova, like in a secret scrimmage, and kind of posted some highlights from that or something like that.
Yeah, they
That was cool.
Yeah, I think they're doing that again, but they haven't said who it's going to be against yet. So
Yeah. Talking about social media and stuff, like Kentucky did, and it'll always stand out to me. I think I have it, like I downloaded it or something, but they, it was when they played West Virginia in like 2018. At what was
The
that?
Kevin Knox year.
Yeah, the Kevin
The Kevin
Knox game, and they did that like road, that journey to or whatever. That video had me ready to run through a wall, man. Like I was so ready. It was so awesome. So they just need to return to doing that. If they do that every game, you sign me the F up, man. So,
well, the video that they posted before the Kansas game was pretty cool too. The one, like,
yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just the cherry on top was beating Kansas by like 30 at Kansas, but it sucks that we didn't win when we needed to.
Rock,
Yeah.
rock
I'm
chalk.
not looking forward to that episode next week, by the way. Like, I do not want to do it. Yeah, it's next week.
Oh, that's next week.
All right,
Yeah.
so we talked about the coaches changes. You also had a GM come through previously at Nike. What's the story there? Like that seemed pretty significant, but also seemed like it wasn't talked about that much.
Yeah, it caught news for like a day. It's Rachel Baker. She was, I think she was accused of. She was in the airport saying something about paying players and like some type of news story about it, but like no one talked about it. So I'm not really sure. But she was out recruiting at Peach Jam, which is like unheard of because she's not a coach. And like I think it's the first GM in college basketball. I don't know that for sure, but it's interesting. She was with Nike before. She knows a lot of people. All the players seem to like her. So mhm. That's what
Is that
I
allowed?
think Steve Wiseman said that on Twitter. He had an article about it. I didn't read it, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's allowed or not. But Jefferson had gotten in trouble, so I think that might be why he wasn't there.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. No, that's the fourth sentence in the article that I just clicked on. That Wiseman article is that because he wasn't there,
Makes sense.
they were able to like sub her in.
Gotcha. So, let's do this. Give me your rotation for this year. Like, give me your starting five for this year, and kind of see what your bench looks like, and get a feel for this team. So we give people what to expect here.
What I would pick, or what you think? What I think Shire would do.
Yes,
Okay,
both.
we'll start with what I would do is Roach at the one, obviously. Proctor at the two, Whitehead, Mark Mitchell, and Lively. 4 freshmen is not great, but you're going to be young regardless, so just learn
Yeah.
through. And then first off the bench would probably be Grandison, I guess, and then they'll end up with Filipowski and Shoot, and I guess Ryan Young is like the 9th guy. Yeah, it's thin. It's everybody's new except for Blake's and Roach. I mean, Blake's will play too, but like it's 10 guys and there's 8 people who have never played for Duke before, and 5 of them are freshmen. So
Yeah.
well, I think Shire will go Roach,
What do you think?
Whitehead, Grandison, Mitchell, and Lively. I think he'll start Grandison because he's older.
I mean, that's not a bad decision, especially with Roach. Like having some experience there is not a bad decision at all.
Right. And I'm not opposed to Whitehead at the 2, but I do think he'll be a lot better at the 3.
Yeah.
At least in college. I don't know about the pros. But I always prefer to have 2 ball handlers, and there's really only one in that lineup. Like Whitehead's okay, but do you trust him in a full court press in a road environment? Probably not.
Yeah.
Proctor, you at least know he can handle against grown men in a FIBA Cup. So I'd go Proctor.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a tall lineup with Whitehead at the 2, and that's especially nice where Grandison comes in because he can shoot. So normally with Whitehead at the 2, you'd be like, all right, is the spacing going to be there? But with Grandison, his shooting ability at the 3, that's far less of a, especially if Lively can kind of stretch out a little bit and shoot some threes. Like that's
Yeah, all you have to do
That's
is
not
stick
nearly as much of a
Grandison
concern.
in the corner where he shoots like 64% from 3.
Yeah.
And then you can run high pick and rolls with
Yeah.
Lively. And
Mhm.
like Mark Mitchell can be in the dunker spot, and Whitehead can just I'm sure he'll figure it out. I think it'll work no matter what, but I prefer Proctor at the 2, and then Grandison as 6-man probably. So
Nice. Dal, you want to ask your question?
I like that. We kind of already touched on the first one, which is just like, what's your expectation for how Shire will play? Just seems like it'll be a lot of kind of perimeter oriented, which like isn't all that surprising. That's kind of Duke's MO has been Duke's MO even before. It's kind of that perimeter style, like not exactly 5 out or 4 out, but so yeah, we kind of already touched on that. So I don't know. Do you have any other things on this current team before we get into a couple things
No,
on
man, I think I'm
guys
good. I think
past,
I have
Connor?
a decent expectation of this team, so appreciate you doing that for us, Grant.
Actually, yeah. Well, before we, I guess, go into that stuff, just like where do you expect Duke to finish in the ACC? Kind of where do you expect them to be ranked at the beginning of the season, and what's your kind of floor and
I
ceiling for
think
them finishing
ACC
wise?
wise, UNC is better. I can't think. Virginia will be good again, probably. It's like the 8th year of Katie Clark. Um, I think they'll finish between 3 and 5.
Perry
I
Ellis
guess.
grind.
And then start of the year they'll probably be ranked. I think as last I saw was like 8, but like I don't. I think anywhere between 8 and 15 is fine for me. I don't think they should be higher than 8. They have a lot to prove. New. I mean, everything's new. So.
Yeah,
And I think Virginia Tech is good too.
that makes sense.
Who is your favorite all-time role player?
Go for it.
Favorite all-time role player? Does Quinn Cook count as a role player?
Yeah.
It's like his first 3 years were a struggle,
I'll
and then
allow
he
it.
finally came out in this senior year. And
Yep.
like even on that 15 team, he wasn't the best player. He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't the best guard, but like he was the steadiest player. So, and he's always been one of my favorites, no matter what. I think they should retire his number along with Nolan's and have him split it, but they probably never will. But it's definitely Quinn Cook.
Quinn Cook is one of those guys in NBA 2K that you could get an expansion draft, or you can always sign in free agency when you're doing like a my GM thing, and he will always be a bucket off the bench, like always. I love it.
Yeah,
Love Quinn Cook.
I love Quinn Cook.
So of the guys that just got drafted, do you have a favorite fit on where they went NBA wise? I have my favorite fit.
Can I tell you,
Connor's we already know, so I'm not even
can I
asking.
tell you my least favorite
You don't
fit
get
first?
you don't get an answer.
It's
Better not be Paulo.
no, it's Keels in New York.
Yes.
Because I mean, Cam Reddish just went there and didn't play.
Yeah, that's bad.
Keels is not going to play. I mean, he'll probably be in the G League regardless. But
Yeah,
it's I don't know. In my favorite fit, it's probably Paolo, but I really love
Yes,
Mark
sir.
Williams with LaMelo. That's an amazing fit for Mark. I don't think Mark could have gone to a better spot because, I mean, I think he's like their only. I guess Nick Richards is there, but I don't know about Nick Richards.
Mm-hmm.
You watch your tongue, sir. No, just kidding. Yeah. I get it. I totally get it.
It's like him and whatever your like Zeller flavor of the month is, because I feel like Cody and Tyler like switch off
But
and are there all the time too.
Paolo in Orlando's is
No, so
I mean it's perfect. So
Yeah. I'm
It really
allowed to
is.
contribute to this.
Shut up,
It
Connor.
was a dream come
you're not allowed
true.
to comment.
14% chance of getting the number one pick, and we got it, baby. And also, like, did you think he was gonna go? This is just a question. Just I gotta ask. Did you think he was gonna go 1?
no, because like everything I saw was Jabari's number 1. They love Jabari, which I thought they might go with Chet because of Suggs and Chet's background. But
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be Chet.
I kind of thought the same thing.
I didn't buy any of the Jabari hype, even though like I had to talk myself into it that day because freaking what's his name Woj was like, oh yeah, they're taking Jabari. It's a done deal. Like, no,
That day you did it every
was
day
that
for like
day. It was
the
that
14
day
days leading up to
specifically
the draft.
Like
Connor.
the day of the draft, it was like, oh yeah, it's a done deal, and I was like, oh, I gotta convince myself that we're taking Rashard Lewis 2.0 at the number 1 pick, which is not a bad player, but I don't want him as the number 1 pick, you know. But Paulo, yeah. You guys know how I feel about Paulo.
I do think Jabari would have fit better in Orlando than Houston, probably.
Yeah,
like Jabari could have played off of Franz and then Suggs and Cole Anthony. Like he wouldn't have been the main guy. He wouldn't be asked to do everything. But I mean, Paolo can do like twice as much as Jabari can. So
yeah. But don't tell Auburn fans that.
Yeah.
No one cares about Auburn either.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, Arkansas and Auburn. Yeah, no one cares. I also really like Wendell Moore in Minnesota. Honestly, AJ Griffin in Atlanta is great too. But Wendell Moore was the other one that I
Because they did
really, really like. I think
right. They just traded half their
really
team
good
for Rudy,
Minnesota.
so he's going to get playing time,
Mm-hmm.
and they should be good enough to where they're a playoff team. So that'll be fun.
They better hope they are, or they're giving away some
Yeah.
pretty nice picks to
absolutely.
Utah.
So, all right. Who is your favorite non-Duke ACC player?
Currently or ever?
That's up to Dowell.
Ever? I don't know if you guys
both.
know him, Sean Singletary from Virginia, little point guard.
No.
I was at the triple overtime or double overtime game where Duke went there in 2008, I think, and he hit a floater to win. And ever since then, I liked him a lot. He's probably my favorite.
Was he there late 2000s?
It was like, I think that game was like 2008. So I think it was before Duke won in 2010. So because Paul.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. He was there.
So probably Sean
04 to 08.
Even Devin Thomas was okay, even though I kind of hated him.
Yes. The best thing about Devin Thomas, so he was my class. He came in like in the freshman class that I went to. Like, my favorite thing was he would dunk and then he would flex on the student section. And I'm like, bro, we're cheering for you. Like, why are you mean mugging and flexing on us? Like, flex on someone else.
How about
always so
current non-Duke ACC players?
I don't know if I even have one. Let's see.
I like Isaiah Wong. I like his game.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, Miami guards are fun, and
those Miami guards are fun.
UNC's guards last year. It wasn't even close. That was fun. That was a fun game. Dowell was rejoicing in that game. I remember you were going nuts when that game was on.
I don't know. Favorite. I don't know. I don't really like anybody.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like,
yeah.
I get that. I probably can't pick a favorite SEC player.
What about most respected? You could do it that way. Where it's like
Armando.
You respect their game.
He's
yuck. No.
Fine.
Choice.
I'll choose.
I rescind the question.
Does Briggs from TikTok count? Because Briggs is the best guy at UNC ever.
If I can't pick him, I'll pick Caleb Love because every time he plays Duke, with the exception of one, it feels like he breaks our heart every time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue the streak of you just picking people off the teams.
I kind of do like
favorite
Kentucky.
UK player.
I won't lie. I have some Kentucky.
We could tell.
Friends.
We know.
I had some Kentucky friends before I started Twitter, so I followed them for a long time. Favorite Kentucky player all time, probably Ulis, who was better than John Wall.
Spicy.
And then currently, Oscar's the easy choice. Let's see. I would probably go Livingston. I like him a lot. I think if they play him at the 4, your ceiling goes up a lot. But I don't know if they'll do that. But I really like him. I watched him in high school a lot because of Foster, and he was the best player on the court most of the time. So and they played good competition. So
what I respect about Livingston is that he was told what he needed to work on by the staff, and then he committed to doing it and did it well. As far as adding shooting, now he's talking like he's gonna play the 2. Like, he does not need to play the 2. He's gonna be a 4. He's gonna take Jacob's top spot at the 4, and they'll be fine. But Livingston's fun.
Yeah, I like Toppin a lot too, but I don't think you can start. I don't think you can play him more than you play Chris.
No,
in my opinion. Topping's a good. energy guy, but like you can't. I think I was listening to the space that they did the other night. They said their offense was like terrible with him on the court, which
It
makes sense.
is, yeah.
So
Yeah, like I think his per 40 numbers
I don't know.
were
I don't
crazy.
think.
or it's not terrible, but it's worse than when he's off the court. If that makes sense.
I'm skeptical on just how much of that is his fault. I'd like to see the
Yeah.
lineups that are playing. If
That's
he's
the
not
thing
on the
about the
court
stats that don't
versus
tell the whole
because
picture. It's like, yeah, like his per 40 was worse than Keon Brooks, but look at the lineups Keon Brooks played with more so than look at what like Keon, when Jacob Toppin played with, like Keon was playing with Severe Wheeler and Ty Ty, where Toppin was probably playing more with like Davion Mintz running the point. You know what I mean? Like your per 40 is going to be worse when you're having to do more.
yeah.
Right, and as amazing as Sheboy is, you can't have him, Keon, and Toppin on the floor at the same time.
No, yeah. So all right, well,
Right.
let's move on to the all-time Duke starting five plus a sixth man. We decided that in this segment, we normally, like Dowell and I just normally just decide together, but there's three of us, and there's a actual Duke fan here that would have more insight on who is all-time, better than what our opinions would be of this team. So we're going to do a snake draft with Grant getting the number one pick. He could pick whatever player and whatever position he wants to go first, and then Dowell will go, and then I will go, and then I'll go, and then Dowell will go, and then Grant will go. But I will automatically take the six man
We should just flip it.
straight.
We should
Okay,
we
that's
should just
fine.
flip
Yeah,
it
that's fine.
and
No, not
have
snake.
Grant go
Regular
first. Yeah.
draft. Let's do it. So with the number one pick, who are you picking for the all-time Duke starting five and six?
Christian Leitner at the 5.
Screw you.
I mean, I have to.
His 30 for 30 is really fun though. Like I love watching that 30 for 30. It's great.
I have some friends that are from Jacksonville, and which is like where he either is from or lives now, and like my friend, her like little sister had gone to a bunch of his like volleyball camps and stuff, and so that he's like the coolest guy.
He was the worst one on that
So,
92
I
Dream
dislike
team.
that.
Though. I will say that. That's just
They should have had Shaq out there, not Christian Leitner.
yeah. All right.
Connor, who you got for second pick?
Second pick. I thought you had second pick. All right, but I'll take it.
Oh, I can do it.
Yeah, you do it. You go ahead.
Okay. I will. I'll go the pod god himself. I'll go JJ Redick at the 2.
I like that. I like that a lot. You know why I like it?
Because he played for the Magic, Connor. We know.
Yes, sir.
There's one and Reddit.
Yes, sir. All right, I'll go with the third pick at small forward. I'm going to go with Grant Hill because he also played for the Magic. But I just love Grant Hill. I think he was going to be. I think he was going to be that guy if injuries never plagued his career.
I agree.
So in San Diego, they have a bunch of like hills, like neighborhoods that are named Hill, and one of them is called Grant Hill. And I'm like, I want to move to that neighborhood just so I can like say that I live in Grant Hill. It always makes me laugh.
All right, Grant.
That's who my dad named me after Grant Hill.
Oh, really? Nice.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Point guard or I'm not doing Bobby Hurley because we can't have all old guys. So I guess you can just give me Zion at the 4. He's the most talented player to ever play there. I don't care what anybody says. Even though he's a one and done, doesn't matter to me.
Kentucky's most like talented and best player was a one and done as well. So
yeah. Stop with the one and done hate. All right, Dal, you're up.
All right, so I really want to pick this person, but they really probably honestly belong as a 6-man. So I might just save them and talk about like him after. God, I'm scrolling through this. There are so many Duke players that like are in the league and used to be in the league. It's honestly insane. Um, Austin Rivers has one of the top 3 mixtapes of all time from high school, but I'm not going to pick him. Uh, all right, I'm just going to do it because I love him. Let's go Shane Battier at the 4.
Let's at the 6 man.
Or we can put him at the 6 man if you want. I thought you just wanted the 6 man. He probably belongs as a 6 man.
Yeah, no, he's the 6 man because
Oh, and Zion's
Zion's
the
the
4.
four.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I'll make you pick the point guard then.
That's an easy pick. I'm going Jay Williams. Probably one of the
That's what
best point guards that I've seen play. I don't know. I love Jay Williams. I love him as an analyst. I love him as a player. Yeah, got to go with that. So I feel like it's fair. There's not a lot of new guys, but I do appreciate this. Like if we're gonna pick a new guy, Zion's the guy to pick. Um, snub my boy Paulo, but it is what it is. It makes sense because he also is the one that was on the team that lost the last home game and Coach K's last game. But
Can we put
fair enough. Fair
this is.
enough.
it's like can we put Billis as our 13th man just to appease him as well?
Oh god, Jay Billis. He's gotten better. I feel like he's gotten better at being biased or unbiased. I mean, I don't hate listening to him call games as much as I used to. So it's better.
He's the reason I watch most of my games on mute now, out of habit. Like I started muting him years ago, and now I just watch every game on mute.
That's probably a good idea. There was one game, I forget which one. Was it Kentucky and Tennessee? I don't remember which game it was, but he's like, "This has been a really clean game, like hardly any foul calls." And as soon as he said that, it was like, I promise you, it was like the 40th foul of the game. Like it was whistle after whistle after whistle that whole time, and it was nasty. Yeah, he does not pay a whole lot of attention to the games, that's for sure. But I do love he's the one that does the 90 feet or 93 feet segments.
Yeah.
Like I love those. So those are fun. All right. So Grant, is there anything you want to leave us with as we depart tonight?
Maybe I have a question for you. Let's see. How do you see Duke's season playing out after we just talked about him?
Do you want to take that one first, Dowell?
Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of a shot, but kind of not. Like, what's the non-conference look like for them? Because I feel like K historically is very anti-playing anyone difficult.
As soon as K retired, Shire scheduled a home and home with Arizona.
That's kind of sick.
So, yeah. This year they play Kansas. They get Ohio State at home, which is like really boring. I think they play Iowa in Madison Square Garden in December, and they play the PK 80, which is like it has Gonzaga in it.
That field is actually good, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll probably get at least one big matchup from that. So probably 4 big matchups, I guess, for the most part.
I mean, I feel like this is kind of the cliche for all teams that are bringing in a bunch of new players, especially a bunch of new freshmen. I could see it going like being kind of rocky the first 10 games or so while they try and figure out the rotations, figure out how to play with each other. But I mean, the ACC, 1 will be better, but 2 just has to be better than it was last year. Because last year it was a couple teams at the top, and it probably wasn't as bad as people acted like it was because the bottom couple teams really pulled down the overall value of the conference. But I mean, the ACC wasn't good last year, and so it'll be better. But I expect Duke, like you said, kind of that 3rd, 4th, 5th range. 5th probably being like the absolute floor that they get, because I can't see them not figuring it out with just the amount of talent that they have. And as much as I would love to be like, oh, Shire can't coach, we don't know what he's done. Like, we've actually seen Shire coach a bunch of games because K has missed time over the last 2 years for stuff. So I bet it's a little bit rocky. They probably lose a game or two they probably shouldn't early on in the season just because they're figuring stuff out. But by ACC play, they're kind of humming on all cylinders.
I can't wait for the overreactions if they lose to Kansas like the first week of the season about
Oh yeah.
Shires.
Nah,
I'll
like
be we'll
I'm
be
kind of in the
pushing
same
those
boat.
narratives just so you know, just for the fun.
No,
We'll
I'm
see.
I'm in the same boat. I think like 3 to 5 is probably where I see them kind of finishing out, just because you have like a lot of freshmen, like we said, a lot of new players just in general. And I think this is one of those seasons where Shire figures out what his identity as a head coach is. Like Dal said, we've seen him coach before, but he was running K's system. He was with K's players. Like I don't know what's to expect from a first year head coach, but I mean he's had a heck of a like he's had a heck of a mentor as like like as for a head coach. So um, it's not like it should be a total drop off. But I do think there will be some games where you're like, what is Shire doing? It's him figuring out his identity as a coach and what he wants to like the values he wants to instill, and I like the energy that's just around the program right now. So it's gonna just like have a refreshed feel to it. So like a lot of people hate Duke, they really don't actually hate Duke. They just didn't like Coach K, and they didn't like Coach K because he just was the greatest coach of all time in college basketball. So, like, but if we're being honest, the last 5 years he wasn't the greatest coach in college basketball. We could go ahead and say that now, and
He
so
wasn't even he wasn't even top 10. So
yeah, so like it's okay to say that, and so like for Shire, it shouldn't be like you shouldn't. It's like his shoes are big to fill, but it's not like in the past 5 years. It's like he was winning every single year, championship. So like it's okay for him to have like a down first year if it means that he's gonna be a better coach in the long term. So I think 3 to 5 is fine though, and I think that if you expect anything better than that, that's kind of unrealistic for a first year head coach.
I kind of see this team like the 2017 team with Jason Tatum. Um,
Yeah,
they went 28-9 that year, lost to Virginia Tech and NC State, which they probably shouldn't have to start ACC play. Um, and then they were that team that lost to the Sindarius Thornwell South Carolina team. But that team was a couple upperclassmen with Grayson Allen and Emil Jefferson, but the bulk of that team was freshmen centered around Jason Tatum. I kind of
and,
expect a similar team to that.
and I think Giles, Bolden, and Tatum missed like the first month of the season,
Yep.
and then Grayson
yeah.
couldn't stop kicking people, so that was a whole storm.
What
That
I do have a question though. Like Derek Whitehead, is that dude just have no free time, or when in his free time does he just like love looking his name up? Because like he's popped up in Twitter threads that I've been a part of, just to say like just to defend himself, or like say like bookmarked or something like that. Like what do you think of that? Because I feel like he's talking a huge game, and to be honest, it's making me want to see him just kind of suck. Not gonna lie.
he's very online, which I mean, kids these days are, I guess, but I don't think it'll continue once the season starts. Hopefully
Yeah, yeah,
not.
yeah.
I
He's
hope
got a
at
lot
that
of
point
free
you just
time.
literally don't have time to be online that much.
Because
We
like
had Lance Ware in a group chat, and he was responding every once in a while. That was pretty dope. Not gonna lie. But Lance
Lance
Ware
Ware
is
probably
not on Derek Whitehead's level. Derek Whitehead's level. All right,
uh,
let's close this thing out. Grant, is there anything else you wanna share with us? You wanna tell our listeners where to follow you or anything like that?
you can follow me on Twitter, I guess, at Update Duke. Um, if you're a Kentucky fan, I promise you won't hate me.
You should do that.
Yeah, it's good content, especially
But I will.
especially when they're winning, and also it's funny when they're losing because you put all the emotions out there.
Oh yeah, there's no holdback on Twitter at all. It's probably my biggest flaw is I don't I don't think before I tweet. So whenever I tweet, it's just like first reaction, which is kind of bad. But I will, if you do follow me, I will troll Kentucky every now and again. It's fun to
As
troll you guys.
expected.
Yeah,
We
that's
will do
because
the
I expect
same.
the same to me. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I really only have Twitter. I don't. Everything else is personal accounts. So
Yeah.
if you want to follow me on Twitter, that'd be cool. You don't have to.
Definitely. Definitely. Dal, you have anything you want to close this out with?
Um, I think I've decided more and more that I think this team goes as far as Jeremy Roach. Like how ever good he is, like whatever floor he kind of sets for this team is where they end up. And I look forward to this team because honestly, as much as I hate to say this as both a UK and a Wake Forest fan, a lot of these guys are guys that I really like their games. Super excited to see Whitehead and Lively play. Shoot looks cool and also has a cool name for being a shooting guard. So no, definitely follow. Don't follow Update Duke on Twitter. It's pretty much the only Duke account I can stomach, which is saying a lot.
There's some good ones out.
There are some good. I follow some other ones. There's some good ones that aren't just absolute trolls. But yeah, after that Kentucky game at the beginning of the season last year, I had to be quiet for a little bit. Got a little humbled. Yeah, funny story real quick. I'll close it out. Funny story. I reached out to Grant last year on the first episode. It was like 2 hours, and he listened to the whole thing, and we gave our preview for the Kentucky Duke game, and all four of us had picked Kentucky to win. And somebody had said, like, I think it was you, Dowell, or somebody said that, like, oh yeah,
it was me.
Ty cooked Trevor Keels every time they played AAU. Like, we should expect the same. And then that was Trevor Keels' best game ever. Like,
who has two thumbs and stuck his foot in his mouth. This guy.
Yeah, so that was a fun little interaction because Grant the next day is like, listen to the whole episode. Thought it was funny that none of you guys picked Duke or like you all picked Kentucky to win. It's like, well, yeah. So
didn't realize Trevor Keels was going to be Superman that day.
Yeah, but that's the day we found out about Oscar Sheway because that dude, like, he had like a 20. I think he had 20-20 game or something like that. And I was like, holy crap, Oscar is good at basketball. So didn't hate it.
That game was what made me worry about Mark for a little bit because Oscar was just abusing him all game long.
He was, yeah.
It was. I think what he had, like 20 rebounds, 22 rebounds, something like that.
Yeah,
17 and 20
and 17 and 20.
17 and 20.
The next game he had a 20 point game is what it was. But yeah, no, so that was fun. But yeah, Grant, I appreciate you coming on, man. Taking an hour out of your time to come out and hang out with us and talk Duke basketball. I think it's giving us a better insight than what just stats and numbers will give us. So I appreciate you doing that for us. Dowell, like always, it's been a pleasure to have you on, man. So you guys have a great week, and we'll be back next week with Kansas. I'll try and find a Kansas account that I don't hate we can maybe get on the pod. Yeah, because there's no way I'm not just going to be so mad about them winning the national championship. But anyways, you guys have a fantastic week, and you take care.
Thanks for having me, fellas.